Hey, fairly unbalanced me, Mike Tallon. I'm seriously pissed and want to do a quick video here about our latest mass shooting from a member of our well-regulated militia in the United States. This time in Nashville, 3 kids, 3 adults. But it doesn't really matter that it was there because we're just going to be on lather, rinse, and repeat, and it'll be in my hometown or your hometown next. Hell, I have returned to Guatemala where I am a billion times safer from a mass shooting event than you are right now if you're in the United States, which is incredible to believe, but entirely true. So, obviously, the worst thing about this is that more human beings were punched full of holes and bled out and will be unrecognizable, and you'll have to do closed casket funerals for people who are 7 years old. And all of that is beyond horrible. But the other thing that is just horrible about this, and I know you feel it as much as I do, is that we're now going to begin the hollow, rage-making ritual of the Republicans saying they offer their thoughts and prayers, and the rest of us pulling our hair out and screaming, "It's the guns, goddammit!" And then we will move forward into something else. People will be upset for a couple of days, and then it'll fade, and then there will be another mass shooting in a week, 2 weeks. And I'm just sick of that. And I would like to make a suggestion on how we, as sensible, not fascist, not awful people, can pressure state legislatures to actually change this dynamic. First off, I think it's important that those of us who want to see this end recognize that the Supreme Court has killed us. We have lost this fight. The rulings from the conservatives on the Supreme Court over the last 20 years have absolutely gutted the current regimes of states' attempts to regulate gun ownership within their borders. They've done so on crazy legal theories, and it's been done by a group of jurists who call themselves originalists. And that's where I think that we can find a hook to re-engage this fight on a new front. Originalism is the judicial philosophy that any law is unconstitutional if it doesn't fall within the original intent of the founders. And yet we all know that the Second Amendment of the Constitution has in it a phrase that speaks about a well-regulated militia being necessary for the protection of a free state. And yet Antonin Scalia, the intellectual father of the originalists, writes these decisions in the gun control cases where he just completely ignores that, absolutely pretends it doesn't exist. And I think the way that we can change the battlefront and to get laws that will actually do something to regulate the fact that there are more guns than people in the United States is you get one state legislator or two state legislators, state legislators, or 100 across the country who will draft laws called the X-State Well-Regulated Militia Act, the California Well-Regulated Militia Act, in which the state, as the regulatory agency, affirmatively assumes control and power of defining what the well-regulated militia is. There is this nebulous notion that it's the National Guard, as if the National Guard is made up of people who grab their musket and go down to build a levee when there's a flood. It's madness. But there's this nebulous idea that that's the state militia. But it's not, and it certainly wouldn't be if California or New York State or if D.C. becomes a state. The D.C. state legislature writing a law that says to be in a well-regulated militia in our state, you need to, here, define it as you will. A well-regulated militia in New York State will consist of all men and women over the age of 18 years who take part in a 2-week safety training course every year, who attend mandatory meetings once a month on the weekends, who store their guns in secure facilities that can be checked by state authorities. Go down the list and say, yes, if you are in our well-regulated militia, which is necessary for the protection of a free state, our state, then you can own your guns. But we're the regulatory agency. Write it in the original language of the Constitution and then send that back to the Supreme Court and make them choke on it. They might still overturn it, but at least it would be a new battlefront in this incredibly frustrating, absolutely maddening war in which we got to listen to Ted Cruz send thoughts and prayers. Sweet God, I can't do it one more time. Please, if you have a state legislator you think would be amenable to this idea, it sure the hell can't hurt. A well-regulated militia act. Have a state define what it is and make the Supreme Court choke on it. Love to you all, unless you're a gun-wielding fascist, or if you're a fascist without a gun. All fascists, screw them. But the rest of you, love to you all, and God, we've got to do something to change. Peace.